Often, in the stories we consume, be it through movies, TV shows, or other mediums, there exists an apparent dichotomy of right versus wrong, light versus dark, and good versus evil. This simplicity in delineating heroes and villains allows audience members to easily immerse themselves in the conflict as well as the narrative. For many, this escapism is what makes stories so captivating. However, what if I were to propose a third side to the conflict? One that, while not always featured, arguably holds the most significance: gray morality. By examining the film, The Killing of a Sacred Deer, we will explore how storytellers navigate the intricate realm of ethics, crafting narratives that provoke thought and resonate deeply with audiences on a grounded, personal level. Enter with me the realm of gray morality. Before we can talk about it, we must first define it. So, what is gray morality? The concept of something being morally gray means it is neither primarily good nor evil. Think of it as a spectrum. On one side is the morally righteous, and the other morally evil. In the middle is where things get complicated. Game of Thrones author George R.R. Martin says it best.
I've always been fascinated by human beings and all their complexity, and even human beings who do appalling things. The question is, why? What's the verdict of history on these men? Are these heroes? Are they villains? Are they great people or people that we should despise? I mean, they're fascinating characters because of their very complexity.
As George explains, these characters offer a more accurate reflection of human nature, complex and layered, often residing somewhere in the middle in terms of morality. People are intricate beings, and our decisions are frequently driven by personal motivations rather than clear-cut moral codes. When the characters in the stories we consume exhibit similar behavior, they become more engaging as we watch the events unfold before our eyes. We, as viewers, are no longer mere spectators. We are active participants, making decisions right alongside our characters. The Killing of a Sacred Deer is a 2017 movie directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. It follows Dr. Stephen Murphy, played by Colin Farrell. At the beginning of the film, we see Stephen mentoring a boy named Martin, played by Barry Keoghan. We learn this relationship is built on the foundation of guilt after it is revealed Martin's father died while in surgery under the care of Stephen. We see Stephen attempt to distance himself further and further from Martin as the movie progresses. This upsets Martin, and he gives Stephen an ultimatum. Stephen must sacrifice a member of his family as repentance for killing Martin's father, or all members of his family will die slowly.
Okay, I'm gonna explain this very quickly so that I don't hold you up. Yes, it's exactly what you think. Just like you killed a member of my family, now you gotta kill a member of your family to balance things out, understand? I can't tell you who to kill, of course, that's for you to decide, but if you don't do it, they will all get sick and die. Bob will die, Kim will die, your wife will die. They will all get sick and die. 1, paralysis of the limbs. 2, refusal of food to the point of starvation. 3, bleeding from the eyes. 4, death. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't worry, you won't get sick, you just gotta stay calm, that's all. There, I said it as quickly as I could. I hope I haven't kept you too long.
Initially, Martin appears as the antagonist as we view the narrative through Stephen's perspective. It is not until later in the film we learn Stephen's culpability in the tragedy that unfolded. Having been drunk during the surgery that claimed Martin's father's life, we see Martin's point of view more clearly. Should the story be flipped, Stephen could easily be seen as the villain. This fluidity in morals is what defines Martin as a gray character. This moral ambiguity challenges our perceptions and makes Martin a compelling figure in the narrative. Think about it. If you were in Martin's shoes, wouldn't you want some form of reparation for what happened to you? His actions stem from a sense of justice for his father's death, blurring the lines between right and wrong. Martin is not acting out of malice. Instead, as he explains to Stephen,
"Do you think your mother's proud of you, Martin? Do you think she's happy that her beloved son is a murderer?"
Murderer? There's really no need for such a dramatic, sensational, old-fashioned word. But if you insist. The murderer, both in my father's case and our current situation, is not me.
As the story begins to unfold and the weight of the situation grows, we witness a shift in the trajectory of Stephen's character. Rather than the altruistic father figure we initially perceived, he begins to delve into increasingly dark waters. For example, his decision to capture and torture Martin in his basement, an act that appears malevolent yet is driven by his desperate attempt to safeguard his family, an action everyone can understand regardless of the ethicality in question. Despite Stephen's actions, our understanding of his motives forces us to reevaluate our judgment. This level of understanding for Stephen and Martin is what hooks us into the story.
So if you're gonna dig a hole in the yard, better make it a big one.
Stephen?
It is this intricate dance of morality, the distinction between right and wrong blurred, that challenges our preconceived notions and forces us to confront the complexities of human nature through the lens of these characters. Imagine yourself in either of their shoes. Would you do the same? Extending from the concept of character writing, gray morality can manifest itself in other ways of the story as well. For example, the scenario in which Martin puts Stephen is called a moral dilemma. This dilemma is the beating heart of the film that drives the narrative and our characters forward. Everything each character does can be traced back to the dilemma at hand as the motivating factor. The killing of a sacred deer delves into the depths of an ethical quandary, drawing inspiration from the ancient Greek myth of Iphigenia. In this myth, King Agamemnon kills one of the goddess Artemis's sacred deer while on a hunt. Angered, the goddess presents the king with a choice. He must choose to sacrifice his fleet of ships and soldiers, or his eldest daughter, Iphigenia. Like in the original myth, where the gods issue an ultimatum to restore balance to the cosmic order, Martin's ultimatum to Stephen mirrors this ancient motif, imbuing the story with a profound sense of fate and consequence, something Stephen rejects. After all, we've been introduced to Stephen as a man of science, a doctor who exhausts every medical avenue when his son Bob's health deteriorates inexplicably. Despite Martin's warnings, Stephen initially dismisses his claims. Why wouldn't he? It is only when Bob's condition deteriorates further, aligning with Martin's predictions, that Stephen begins to entertain the possibility of it being real.
Come on, Bob. Let's go for a walk. Up you get. There you go. Okay. Ready? There we go.
It is in this pivotal moment that Stephen, as well as the audience, are forced to confront the unsettling reality that Martin's prophecy is indeed unfolding before their eyes. Understanding the stakes and motivations of both parties makes this one of the most compelling moral dilemmas written. We understand the weight of the situation and sit quietly with bated breath to see the outcome. Making all these aspects apparent allows us to immerse ourselves more deeply into the world and make our own decisions right alongside Stephen. With all this being said, we reach the convergence of all elements we have explored thus far and arrive at the climax of any moral dilemma, the choice. Understandably, Stephen is indecisive, unable to pick one member of his family to kill. Leading up to his decision, all members of the family try to sway Stephen not to pick them.
They bought me a piano. Mom told me to be here next month.
Can I have your MP3 player when you're dead?
I think I'm gonna wear that black dress that you like.
Wear whatever you want. Just hurry.
It is only in the penultimate scene that we witness Stephen's choice. With a sense of desperation hanging in the air, he gathers his family members and stands, blindfolded in the center of them, spinning in a circle with his hunting rifle raised. This moment encapsulates Stephen's moral turmoil as he confronts the stark reality of his predicament. No longer the man of science previously established, he chooses to leave the decision to fate. This scene prompts a spectrum of reactions from the audience, each with their own justifications and opinions. Stephen's indecisiveness is an aspect that most of the audience would share. Imagine if you were presented with that choice. Who from your family would you choose? Could you make that decision so easily? While viewers may harbor differing perspectives on what Stephen should have done, the gravity of his decision is palpable. We, the audience, are drawn into the narrative that challenges our perceptions of right and wrong, forcing us to confront the complexities of our own lives. These morally gray characters and their moral dilemmas serve as a poignant reflection of the human experience, one marked by their realistic actions and complex decisions. It is through these choices, scenarios, and characters that we are able to immerse ourselves more deeply into the world of the story. By embracing this complexity, storytelling becomes richer, offering narratives that resonate deeply with audiences on a personal level and provoke introspection on our own ethical compasses.